The last presentation before lunch, 40 minutes of production. The ones who haven't met me or know me, my name is Fredrik, and I'm a member of team production. Really enjoying it. I think we had some good progress during the years now. Heading in the right direction, both development and in the team, but also together with the users, with you, and all the companies that included impact production into the progress. And as I told you last year, my main goal, or our big goal for us, is to get the information out there. And what do I mean with information? The information that Peter and Desi told us about, the information that we put into the database from the designers, from the consultants, from the engineers, into the database and the design part. And then what I mean with out there, quickly get this information easy out on site to the erection managers, to the erection people and the mounting people, the project managers, the guys and girls working on the storage in the factory and with the transport. So that's my goal, and I think we made it very in the right direction. We're running in the right direction. A little bit metaphor. Linus, please don't tell them that we're actually running in circles, but that's not a part of the metaphor. So the agenda for this production part will be a quick flashback from user group last year, maybe a reminder for you to see, did we implement it during the years, and for some of you this will be new information, and what happened since. I will be going into detail a little bit more about the mobile application, from downloading to from Play to actually using it in Impact, and then we will look at some future version here. The first part in Impact Tender, which is about the tender quantities, matching this to the workload, and then some new functionality in cost estimation, and the big one, Impact Control System. All right, so we start with what's happened during the year. I showed you this last year, visualization about the curves in cost estimation. So this is actually connecting time to your elements in cost estimation, and this is a visualization to see that this is the correct curve, that you connected the right curve to the element, so that it doesn't look like this. If you haven't tried it and you are using cost estimation, just click here and you will see if it's the correct one. This is actually an important one for later on for the cost estimate. About the quantities, the tender. We did some arrangement here in the workload. So this is for the factories to be seeing what is going to be produced in the future. And a good thing to remember for the tender quantities is that two parts is included in the workload today. I say that same thing at Desi. If you've got your glasses, I don't have a bigger picture, but what you see here is actually a project, and there's 3 red dots, 1, 2, 3, and it says the rough planning, what you need there, where am I going to produce my elements, in what factory, and division, and also a rough date. So this is everything you need in the early stages for the rough planning. And also we have the fine planning. So this is what you're working in detail in cost module. Putting an element from the model, from the project, directly down to cost unit, to a table, to a bed. On a date, in a factory, and a division, so on. So those 2 is included in the workload. Good to remember. Then we added some new functionality into the disorders. It was this one, a bit more visual. 3 new statuses: closed, resolved, and active. 4 colors: gray closed one, green result, and there's two colors of active. The red one is when the deadline is passed and you haven't resolved it yet. Yeah, this one is very detailed, but what I'm showing here is all the transport in a project. And I told you last year that it's very important now when you create the project or get the project into the database in Project Manager that you add a delivery address and a contact. And I know that some of you did, but now it's getting more and more important that this is included early in the project, because when you create the transport, this information from the project will be added to the transport. And since you print, or some of you print the delivery note from here, this information will be added. And also I know a few of you companies here is connected from Impact to the ERP system, the transport ERP system, and this information will be included as well. So the features here are very easy for us, but I think it's good for you. If you forgot to add it, you can select one or multiple transport and add this information afterwards. And also, if it's a big project, I know that sometimes the contact is changed out on site, then you can select those transports and change the contact and delivery address as well. Then we added a storage location. So where is the element stored? We added that to the transport and stack module. Could be put into the delivery node, for example, as you can see here. Could be good for both two reasons. For the ones who is going to deliver the element, where can I find the element? But also for the ones working on the storage, preparing the transport, so they can see where it's to be found. And if there is no storage location set, if they have the client, they can see it directly, but also here, then they can look at, we also added the plan direction date and the plan production date. So they can see, okay, there's no storage location, maybe it's not produced. No, it's not, it's going to be produced in the day after tomorrow, for example. This is not my favorite, putting the information in a printed version, because, as I said, I want this information out there, but digitally. Screens, mobile applications, computers out in the factory and so on. But if you don't have that, this could be one way. Yeah, hopefully the transporter will get happy. This is a functionality I hope you are not using a lot, because what? Because this is about rejecting the elements, and I don't think, or I hope you don't yeah, of course you should have to erect them, but sorry, reject the elements when they are broken. So you have to cast another one. The functionality here is, if you reject an element in Impact Production, you can directly replan the element from the rejection. So that if you know that there is placement the next day, you can directly from here plan it. So you don't have to search for it in the database. Yep. And this is a new one, a little bit bigger feature. It's called occupied days, but actually it's occupied costs. And there's two ways of handling this. Not very good colors here for a colorblind, because it's green and red, but the one to the right, the hatched green colors here, is occupied for elements. So now we're in the cost calendar to see what we're going to produce, and the blue project is the one that I'm selecting now. Elements from those. It's saying that those elements planned on table number 5 takes 2 days to cost to produce. Then we are occupying the next day as well. The other one, the red one to the left there, is occupied for maintenance. So we can occupy costs for maintenance. So the table number 3 here is the red hatching is occupied for maintenance. And what I'm showing here in the short video is that it acts a little bit different when you move the planning forward. So the occupied for elements will follow the elements and it will go with the flow, and compared to the occupied for maintenance will stay put on the same thing, because we're saying that Tuesday and Friday on table number 3 will be maintenance. Here. Same thing, the colors here, yeah, this is the green one, this is the red one, will be shown in the detail view as well. Alright, this is not a very nice thing to show in the presentation or with nice pictures and so on, but I like to inform you about it, because this is a lot of work for us in the team and has been for the last years. It's integrating Impact with other ERP systems. It's really nice work, but it could be complicated, so we integrate Impact with economy systems for invoicing, transport ERP systems, and for the reinforcement machines, for lasers and so on, with all the different formats with XML, PXML, BVBS, Unit Technique and so on. So it's nice work, but it's a bit complicated. Yeah, and also the mobile application. I told you about that last year, but we will now look at 5 short videos about actually how we can use this application. So let's see here. We see Project Manager in the background, and we open our phone and we surf to the Google Play application. We type in Impact Mobile or StruSoft Impact Mobile. And look at that. This is not in high speed as Peter's, so it will take the time. The light gray one, because that's the new one. We also still have the old one, the yellow one, but this is the one that is updated now. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks ago we updated the latest one. So even though it takes a little bit longer than is good for a presentation, then we open the application here, and when you're connected through the same thing as with the clients, the server connect, the service information, you will be able to log in with your username and the password, the ones you're logging into with in Server Connect. So it loads up the factories and the projects and the storage and all the settings, and this is how it looks. So now I want to show you here in the video how it looks when you find an element. So this manually way, click the search button here, and for example, I want to look in one of my factory. Oh, I only have one, West Factory. And for example, let's say I want to look at a project that is produced. So I'll try with the FA residential one, and we are going to look for all the elements that's still missing storage location, for example. Click search, and we couldn't find any. So we switch project to the industrial one, click search, and we found one in this case missing storage location, and here it is. So we can select the element, and we will see the ID of the element mark, what status it is, and in what project you can find it, and down to the right here it says none, so there's no storage location. If you click the information button, you will see all the properties that we can find also in Project Manager about the element, who made the drawing, the geometry, length, width, height, mass, and so on, and also the planning details on what transport is this, when it's going to be delivered, is it produced or not. Yeah. Yeah, that was the first video. Next one is a bit more, we will delete this element now and actually working with this QR code scanning. So we will scan this element to get it into the phone. For doing that, we are going to cost plan an element. So I'm planning this wall here on it's a Sunday, but on table number 4, just showing you here what ID it is. It's ID 184 we're going to looking for. Going back to Resource Manager, looking at the storage and try to find it there. In the video I won't find it because I haven't set it to produced. It's reality. So we're going back here, click, and when we're finished for the day we say now it's produced. So what I'm going to do then, I'm just showing you here in the storage, and we will find the element. Actually it's not the one I selected, it's the one above, but yeah. So how to scan this element now? We have to go back to the planning, and we are going to print an element label. So we can do this for multiple elements all the day or the next day, but now I'm just doing it for one. So when we print this element label, we're going to print it on our printer and put it and stick it to the element. So there's a QR code button here on the phone. So if you click that, you will have to enable your phone, the camera on the phone, and you're trying to find the QR code on the element. When you find it, it will show up here in the mobile. Am I doing something more here? Yes. I have to set the storage location. Yeah, that was what I'm going to do. So we click the storage, and we will find all the storage location that we set in the database. I'll choose T7 inside, and it will be updated to T7 and also another status called 50, which means in storage. We click here in storage and refresh. This element will be set to T7 and updated to status 50. We can do it even more automatically. Show you the next one. Still in Resource Manager. So here's all the configuration. Not very advanced, but there is the storage locations. I'll print not the most advanced report we have, but storage label. You will see how advanced this is. Yeah, Y4 outside and a QR code, not very advanced. So you can stick this out on your storage. And if we click now, the scanning functionality here in the Impact Mobile, it will say looking for storage location. So if you have this out on your storage, you will find that and update it to Y4. That means you don't have to scroll if you have a very big storage. Updated to Y4. Yep. And then there's new functionality I'll show you as well. This is if you want to work inside the factory before producing the elements. We're going to work with holocores in this case. So I'm going to plan a couple of holocores. And the normal way is here to plan them, to select them in the cast module and click produce. I think I show you here. Yeah, so that's what normally what we do. We click produce, but in this case I won't do it. Instead I will print this cost report, looking like this. So there's all the elements and the information about it, what's included in it, and also a QR code. So if we now click the QR code on the mobile, and let's say you have this printed out in the factory, it's a little bit wiggly. I'll try to find the QR code, and when I got that, I'll see the cost here with all the holocores set to planned. and I can look at all of them, and I can click on each and see information about it. But here in top I have plan forecast. If I click that, I can on my mobile phone now set this directly to produced, so you don't even have to go to your computer. So the cost is now set in the system to produced. And the last one, similar one, but for another functionality. This is about the transport. So we select the same elements that is now produced, and we will create a transport. Actually it created two, but we will select one of them, number 6, and we will see down here that all these elements are produced. So now we will print an element label instead of the cost planning report. This could be, it must not be yeah, it's in Swedish, följdsedel, but this is a delivery note, but you can also use this for the storage, for planning the transport. So now clicking the camera here again, or the QR code scanning. And if you're connected out on site, of course you can do this as well. And you will see all the elements on the transport. And it says planned up there. If you click plan, you can call off the element, or in this case, I will click delivered. So it says that this transport is delivered. Updated to delivered, and all the elements will be delivered in the database. So let's say that one of the elements is broken. I'll click the element and I click the information button, and in the middle here, very small, but it says issues. So you can add an issue to this broken element. So I click issues and I create a new issue for this. I don't remember what I wrote here. Broken core. You should fast forward this, but with broken core, but it's good. And also I can add deadline, and I can add some more information to it. Broken in transport. And am I finished? No. Upper right corner. So this is information that you will tell the system. You will find it in Impact as well. And I can add a solution, but I don't know that right now. I can add a reason so that you can sort this in afterwards. So it's a transport disorder. I can assign it to someone, and yeah, set it to Arheden F. And I can add issue, cost, and time, and so on. So now we've added this to the element, and you will see this small triangle here saying that there's an issue with this element. But maybe more important, you will be able to see it in the transport and also in the issues tab in Resource Manager for the ones working with the disorders and rejections. Yeah, so hopefully in that case you will get this happy quality manager. So it will show up here as well in the issues as a broken corner from transport. Did you like that? Yeah, I think it's a nice feature from the phone now. Okay, we can continue. Then the thing will be the quantities. The quantities, the tender quantities. This is the first part in what we call tender. And what do we mean by the quantities? Or what do I mean with the quantities? You get a question from your customer. The RFP or the RFI, RFQ, the request for a proposal. You get a question to, can you deliver element or a precast elements to me? My experience from this in Skanska, and I think you know the same here, is that this could be very different, this information. Sometimes you get a model and it's very detailed, and you get an email and the information, very high detail information. Sometimes it's a less detailed model with less information. Could be not white and black here, could be all different versions. And sometimes it's no model with kind of no information, only an email or a phone call asking, can I get elements in the future-ish. But in most of those cases, even if it's a model or it's an email or a phone call, there will be some sort of quantity specified. So either you get it from the model, or in the phone call or mail. Little bit easier or simpler. 40 elements, 800 square meters, maybe a time to be delivered. And these quantities in all of those places, yeah, first of all, you can, of course, you can answer the customers, yes, we can deliver, and then you have to handle it afterwards. But we want to give you this tool that you can match this to your workload, the one I told you before about. So if I'm looking in my database, it's looking like this in the future. So what I want to do is to have this to compare to with my new tender quantities. So this is now, as I told you, the rough planned and the fine planned elements. And I want this as like a background to see, can I fit this? Let's say that, for example, it's very small, but it says week 46 and week 47, the high one there. And let's say that we can produce 20 elements a week, for example. So if we say, okay, to the system, we want a new blue project, a new tender project here. Can we fit it like this? No, we cannot. For example, we want to set it like this instead. Either we have to deliver all the elements before Christmas here, or in another way, we want another project to be looking at. So this is the idea of the tender quantities and matching this to the workload that you already have in the system. Yeah. So the only thing you need is the quantities, and for spreading this out, you also need set pace and maybe a start date, stop date. This is a work in progress, but this is the way of how we want to handle this in the first way. And you will get this. Yeah. Yeah, another functionality in cost estimation. Today, this is a project that we open in cost estimation, and we look at the cost for the sandwich walls. So I'll pick one sandwich wall here, SW14. It says it costs about, looks cheap, about 9,000 Swedish crowns to produce. And behind the scenes here, as you can see to the right, what's included in this 9,000? It's all the costs from the manual cost, the surface cost, end caps, openings, forms, custom material, reinforcement, insulation, concrete, all this costs about is included here in the material cost. And when you have the material cost, you add the working cost, and after that you add the operation cost, and so on. And what I want to show you here is it's very detailed. It could be very detailed in impact if you want that. So all the rainbow colors here is all the costs, all the operations that you're doing, and the yellow one here, or the orange one, is the working cost. But behind the scenes, the working cost is actually from time, or what you get from the times, if you multiply that with the personal cost. So, okay, what I want to say here is that this is could be very detailed in cost estimation if you want that. So another way to handle this is, if you want, you can go into, this is project specific, but you can change the way of calculating the cost. It's very small, but it says the normal way is to base the cost on price components, what I showed you before. But this one is cost based on fixed prices, similar to the time curves. But it will be divided into element type, and you can add a material cost, a working cost, and if you want, also an operating cost only. So this will not be added in the project. So you only have material cost and the working cost, and if you want, operating cost. Looking like this instead. So it's a possibility. Yep, and the last one, the big one, impact element control system. We are working together with a company with this that put resources into this one, so we haven't finished exactly how it's going to be looking in the end, but I will show you the framework. We have added it into the database, so we're working on it, and I will show you how my thought of it is right now, and what the goal is with this functionality. You have a lot of controls, I know that, measuring the elements before and after the production, and all these checklists could be more advanced or more simple. Or this one in German, for example, or another checklist, and so on. What we want to do is that we want to include all these controls into Impact. For doing that, we want to add it in the Cast module, so you can click an element before production. You have planned it here, and you click the element, and you have element control. Or you do it in the calendar. Click element control, and this is just a suggestion here for me. But the thing is that we want to add the controls here. The top ones is preparation and post-production. So the preparation one is all you have to do before you start casting the element. If you click that one, you will get the simple checks and the measurement check. The simple check could be, is the form okay? Is the reinforcement all right? In this case it is, yes, and you'll get a date and who controlled it. Is the casting material checked, and so on. You can add as many as you want here. The measurement check, length, width, height, and so on. You will get the status as well, and you will be able to add what is the actual value here. And I think we will give you the expected one as well. And you can add the tolerances, is this okay or not. So, this one is very small. This is showing all the possibility of tolerances. So the meaning is here that you can add, is it a Eurocode or this internal tolerances that you're using? It's up to you as a company to decide this. But in the end, when it checked, well, all those are green. The preparation one will be checked, will be okay. So now the guys working with the mobile or the cast module, we can see that now it's checked and it's okay to be produced. What I want to do is that we want to connect these two. You see the red status here on the big ones. We want to connect this to the status types. Today we have a couple of them, but we want to add the planned and approved, and we want to add the produced and approved. For example, this one is very small, but you know, this is the statuses, and I added the planned and approved 35, and then I have 40 as today produced, and then I can add 45 produced and approved. So for example, if this is the post-production, I can do all the checks after the elements before putting it out on the storage. So the storage will look, maybe in the future, you can decide this on your own, but we can have 40 produced, 45 is produced and approved before going out to storage, and then you scan the element and you get the storage location. Now I can find it in my storage. And yes, we will add this information, this checks into the mobile. So we will open it, select an element, and I think we'll put it some place here. And the same checks goes for the mobile, so you can use it as well. I think that was the last picture. I have some pictures that I got from reality. Just want to show you them. This is a company actually using this very advanced report out on the storage. So it could look like this. So you don't have to go in there and actually type it in or stand in there out in the cold finding this storage location. And also I posted on LinkedIn a few weeks ago about this company. I don't know if I can say the name of it, but it says on LinkedIn. So, but they're using these screens. I really like this idea, and now you're seeing the detail. Oh, it's very dark, but you will see the detail view from Impact out here. So in the morning meetings or during the day, the people working out in the factory can actually click the elements, see what am I going to produce today, tomorrow, and the next day, what kind of project, what kind of elements. And if you want, you can also click the element and open the drawings here. So there are some pictures from this company, and this is the cost calendar, so you will see what happens the next days. And this one again, yeah. Just saying that those last pictures made me very happy, and I think that we are running in the right direction. I hope you feel the same, even though we're running in circles here. But that's it for me today. So thank you for listening, and if you have some questions, you can take them now or later on.
Yeah, we have what is it, 2-3 minutes?
Yep.
A couple of questions.
The mobile app, your mock-up telephone shows Wi-Fi in the corner. Is that required to be on local Wi-Fi to work?
No.
All right.
It's a question to your IT solution. It must be right. It's okay for you to be coming from outside with this phone.
Yeah,
so it's
because checking off issues on site on delivery would probably not be.
No. But you're connected with a web API, so and security servers. But
so how about the user privileges for the user?
Yeah, we have those as well. As you can see, maybe you can only see one project and so on.
How much you can update from the phone. Some people are creating elements around on your site. It would be nice if they could update the status.
They can update the status, but
preferably they wouldn't be able to update all kinds of other things.
No, correct. So the privileges could be set to different projects and so on. Yes.
And that last thing, showing off on a screen in the construction hall, how does that work regarding privileges as well? Because my thought would be that needs full access. Opening the drawings, you need you need a full running project manager module on top of that to open the drawings, and then I would think the users then there would have a lot of privileges.
They will have privileges, but not about the drawing. In this case, we have to of course, you can install AutoCAD and Revit on it, but it's expensive, of course. But then you have it's PDF viewer or the DVD viewer, so you can use that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Or other ones. We change this. We can use the built-in one and other ones as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can decide that.
Yeah.
One more.
Do we need to buy some licenses for this mobile phone?
Yes. But you can ask me, we can. Okay. We'll see. Maybe we should have this discussion.
This was a good question. Yes.
I got this last year as well about the prices. Please. All right.
No, Fredrik will be joining us for lunch and he will be available.
All day.
They need.
Okay, thank you very much.